Hello footies, welcome to Foot in Review, powered by footcoaching.com, bringing you leading analysis and opinion of all things Ultimate Team since 2019. We bring you 2 shows a week available on all your favourite podcast platforms, and of course we now have a fully produced video show available on YouTube and Spotify as well. Now, if you can spare us a little bit of extra support, why not head over to patreon.com/footinreview, get a range of benefits, including joining our loyalty program. You also get Discord access and much, much more. Big thank you to today's show sponsors, CarMoney. We'll have a little bit more on them later in the show. But also a big thank you to our Skybox holders, Amar, Artyom and Peter. Hello footies, welcome along to your latest dose of EAFC 24 Ultimate Team podcasting. Goodness, we are Foot in Review, powered by footcoaching.com. It is Tuesday, the 21st of November. As we record this, my name is Dan Wimbush, also known as Wimby. I'm joined by my main man, Shaq Attack. We're back for the 3rd week in a row, getting a consolidated run. You know, we're getting a run in the team. The gaffer's given us his confidence and we're going with it. But we have got so much to talk about in today's show. As always, one of the most eagerly anticipated weeks in the Ultimate Team calendar is upon us. Black Friday is here. We're going to be talking about all of the strategies for it, what we can expect, what EA might throw at us, how you can prepare your club, the kind of do's and don'ts that we've learned from over the years. So we've got all of that to get into. Of course, we've got the FC Pro Live promotion still going on. Lots of cards been released over the weekend as well. We've got Icon Roulette, and you guys have flooded our mailbag. We've got questions from all things from how to deal with pressure and potential opponents and ways of dealing with it. We've got questions around Killian Mbappe and that Player of the Month SBC and much, much more. But first of all, before we get any further, Shaq, my friend, how are you?
I'm great, thank you, Wimby. Smooth and comprehensive as always.
I disagree, but I will do my best to plow on. That was one of those where, yeah, it may have gone in the back of the net, but I intended that as a cross. So let's.
It's lovely being in the starting 11, isn't it? At least for me, I feel really privileged to be in the starting 11 3 times in a row.
Yeah, you get a slightly bigger seat in the changing room.
That's right. Loving it.
And a free program and all that extra jazz. Right, let's dig in because we've got so much to talk about. I always say it at the front of the show, but it is very, very much a case today. We're going to be talking about Black Friday for the main bulk of the show. And of course, lots of other things to do. We're going to have to talk about the state of the gameplay, of course, as well. We can't ignore that. Lots to get into. But let's start content-wise, Shaq. FC Pro Live is still with us for another couple of days as we sit and record this on Tuesday morning. What have you made of it all so far and some of the content we've had in the past few days?
To be perfectly honest with you, I haven't connected with it as well as I would have liked. And I think once the tournament starts on the weekend and these cards actually become live, I think there will be a lot more interest in it, depending on how things go and the draws and the results and some of the fluctuations. I think it'll be good fun. I think these cards will stand the test of time because they will certainly be relevant every month or so. So I think it's a really good concept. Execution-wise, I'm still struggling to find out who's who, and I don't know any of these pros, so it's probably a good opportunity to understand these pros and understand how well they play and just get involved in the pro scene, I guess. So, yeah, good idea.
Yeah, the guys on the weekend show, please go and check it out if you haven't already. They talked about this whole kind of disconnect between, okay, it's a great way to introduce us to some of these pro players, but there's precious little information. I mean, me and you were doing our research just before we went on air. It took us a while to actually find out who was representing who. So I think EA do need to refine that a little bit more, but I think you're right. Once the tournament gets underway and you've got upgrades riding on these cards, people will get a lot more invested. We've had a series of SBCs out to kind of take the complement of players up to a player representing every pro. Now, one of them in particular stands out to me, Shaq, and that is Renan Lodi. Now, slightly unfortunate that we've just had a really, really good left-back SBC Abacha, who I know you're going to speak about a little later on in Player in Review. But this card is being represented by you have to consider one of the favourites to win this entire thing. And in terms of a Liga and left-back, I think you can do a lot worse.
Exactly. I think it's a really, really decent card, not very expensive, and as you said, probably you're backing a someone who can actually go long in the tournament, so you can expect some upgrades with this one. Not a bad shot, to be honest.
Yeah, 2-time world champion Umut is the representative for this, an 85 rated card. Now, it's got 80% downvotes on Footbin, which I don't really understand, Shaq. I mean, it's, again, a Ligan Brazilian left back. Can't ask for a lot more on the links department. Yes, the very face stats on this card, not top tier, especially when Batcher is out. But, if you think about this card going to an 88, 89 rated card, it's going to be paces in the mid 90s. Everything else will be basically Hullet gang except for shooting. This could be your Liga and left back easily through tots.
Exactly. And I think Lodi is usually quite a successful card within the foot ecosystem. So I think, and for some reason, if I remember right, he's had live showdown cards and things in the past and that have been successful. So I think this card has some credence, just with the links and the nationality, the league, the club, and also knowing that a pro player that's won multiple tournaments is the one backing him. I think it's a really good card. I don't understand the downwards, to be honest.
Yeah, and look, hasn't got the greatest of playstyles right now. Ping, pass, slide, tackle, and first touch. But again, part of the upgrade process is they can get those playstyles. And it's the thing with all of these live cards, isn't it, Shaq? You've got to see past that face stat. Now, I know for a lot of people right now, an 85 rated squad is hard to do. We were talking before, but we did the show, and you were saying, my club's dry. I can't even do an 83 rated squad. But this is one where I would almost say, if you've got a few 100,000 coins, this might be one that is worth spending 30, 40K on just to get done. I really do think that if you have any kind of aspirations for a Liga and team in the long run, that this is one to get done. Again, especially when you consider the pro that's controlling it.
Exactly. And I mean, I have a snapshot of the pro tournament schedule right in front of me. The first tournament is the week one is 27th of November. Next one is the 4th of December, 11th of December, weekly all the way till the 18th of December. And then there's a break till the 8th of Jan. So you have an opportunity for 4 quick upgrades along the way. So it's certainly worth a shout. Definitely worth a shout.
Yeah, and Umut is part of Group A as well. And they are on that first weekend. So Lodi could get an upgrade quicker than a lot of other cards that are available. But a couple of other SBCs that have come out in the last couple of days, Shaq, as well, on this front. We've had Branko van den Boomen, who's got one of the best names of a player in foot, I have to say. Ajax midfielder, 86 rated, straight off the bat. Looks good. The pace is the obvious thing that's going to hold people back on this card. Only 78 pace to start with, but only 36K and 84 rated squad, Shaq. This kind of reminds me a little bit of a budget Van den Bruyne. De Bruyne, just giving him extra names here. It reminds me a bit of a budget Kevin De Bruyne.
Oh, I think it's extremely budget De Bruyne because he's a 4-star week for 3-star skills. He's got good stats actually. 89 passing. I'm looking breaking his stats down. It looks like a decent card for the price. I mean, if you have the fodder lying around, I mean, I'm struggling to imagine a world where someone has fodder lying around. Cough, cough, Wimby, But I think you're quite right. It's quite a decent card. It's one for people like Bossman John to try and complete. It's of course his favorite club, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. He absolutely loves the Ajax. Has he never mentioned that before? But again, I think if you end up with a couple of dupes and rewards or something this week before he expires, again, 86 rated off the bat. Fizzin, I don't know too much. I don't think he's massively fancied in terms of going forward. Looking at his resume, he's got to tournaments before. It doesn't look like he's particularly won a lot. And again, Paulo Henrique is the guy's name. I apologize. I just don't. Again, we're all kind of getting to know this pro scene. So a bit of an outside. But again, even if he only ends up with 1 or 2 upgrades, Shaq, if you end up spending the equivalent of 35K in there, if this card turns out to an 88 rated, it kind of make your money even just on being worth it for fodder.
I agree. Just for fodder value, it might be worth it. I think, like, if you have the fodder lying around, most of these cards are certainly a must-do just for the live aspect. And live cards are always fun to have in your club, just in case they just get upgraded and you have a higher rated card in your club and actually plays well as well. So it's worth a shot, I think. And I think some of the upgrades, the way they've actually scaled out the upgrades, it's not a bad system. It's a pretty good system. It's a +1 inform upgrade, alternative position and playstyles is the next upgrade, and then there's another +1 inform upgrade. So it's fairly chunky as it goes along. So it does make the cards pretty good.
Of course, if you are a member of our Discord, which of course you get access to our Patreon program at patreon.com/foots in review. You can join the show live, as the big boss man has done, and he says, "Screw you, Shaq," for your accusations that John has any joy of following Ajax. So there we go. So yeah, you go. Another benefit of the Patreon. You can come and join the live chat and send us live abuse. Going forward, again, I like having these live cards. And again, I think the way the icons are this year, and we're going to talk about the 89 rated icon SBC shortly, the way they give extra chemistry, cards this year are a lot easier to fit in. You might think, okay, well, I haven't got many Eredivisie players, but the Dutch nationality is obviously going to help. And then if you have one icon or two, again, if you've done Peter Schmeichel as your goalkeeper, for example, it's a lot easier to get these cards on 2 or 3 chemistry than it was even last year. So again, I think maybe people are not quite looking in depth enough at that and not seeing the potential of them. And if we talk about cards of players that might go and win the entire thing, Shaq, Genrao has had another card, another Ligue 1 card, an Aussie card, playing for Toulouse, I believe. He's got Footwiz Marco as his pro. Again, a long-time favourite of the pro scene. Even I know who he is, and I don't follow it that much. I seem to remember he was doing really well when we were in lockdown and we're having lots of those remote tournaments. So he's got the card. Only 84 rated to start off the bat. Again, this one is harder to see the long-term potential in. But again, he's got a decent pro behind him. Very cheap to do. Could just be worth a stash.
Definitely. I think it's definitely worth a stash. It's not very expensive as well. And decent stats. I mean, average stats. I wouldn't say decent. I would say average. But yeah, if you have the fodder lying around, if you have enough fodder lying around, I would do all of these cards just to take a gamble and see what happens. And some of these cards, like I said, will be amazing fodder. Worst case scenario, they'll be amazing fodder, or they could turn out to be really amazing live cards.
Yeah, and if this card went deep, and it's going to have to go deep into the tournament for this card to be really worth it. But he does have the play styles that I like. That press proven is really handy if you're someone trying to deal with that 71 depth. Tick attack is very good for keeping the play moving around. Incisive pass and relentless as well are really going to help you. So, even with the basic chemistry style, he's an 88 rated CM. You pop a hunter on him as well, can be even better. So, again, get some of these cards done. If you do have that little bit of fodder, of course, we're going to get the new season coming very soon. That's going to offer lots of opportunities. A lot of these cards don't expire until even after the tournament starts. I mean, this one is active until the 27th of November, so another 6 days from now. So you'll have a chance to open some of these Black Friday packs. And again, I would probably much rather get this card done than take a punt on an 85 plus.
Completely agree with you. That's just a complete gamble. Whereas this one, you're getting a card that actually can be upgraded and can be useful for you.
And speaking of useful cards, I mentioned it a minute ago. Peter Schmeichel got an icon SBC out. Shaq, you're proudly sitting there wearing your Man United strip, so we know you've got to be a fan of Big Pete. But again, icon goalkeepers have real utility this year, much like in the old days where you would stick an icon goalkeeper in to keep your centre-backs happy. This way is going to help keep your entire team happy. Now, it is a chunky amount of money to spend on a goalkeeper. The SBC coming in at 250,000 coins. But would you advise people to grind it? Maybe if they're not going to go for an Mbappe or someone like that, would you say this is a card worth doing?
Absolutely. I mean, if you're doing the upgrade packs and you have some fodder lying around, and you really want to start getting grinding on these SBCs, I think Peter Schmeichel is one of those. I think he's a popular card this year, and he's always a popular card because, as you said, icons definitely do provide a lot of links. But Schmeichel always comes up trumps as well, especially in the early phases of the game. He's a pretty good goalkeeper. So if you have the fodder, if you're collecting the fodder, I mean, I'm talking from your perspective, MB, where you have a lot of fodder lying around because of the grind that you do with the league SBCs. So if you do have the fodder lying around, this is a must-do card. Having said that, though, his actual price of the card to buy it from the market is significantly cheaper than the SBC price. So that's the other thing. That's the only downside that I see with doing this SBC is that you can buy it off the market for 50,000, 60,000 cheaper than actually doing the SBC. But if you have the fodder lying around, that offsets the cost of buying the card. So yeah, it's definitely good. Definitely a good card. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, the bulk of the cost of this SBC is coming from the 87 rated squad at the end. That is consuming 150,000 coins of that 250k value. The other squad's not that. You'll probably be able to knock them off quite easily. An 85, an 83. The lone squad is just to get the lone card. You just need to submit a gold squad, and of course you've got your bronze and your silver packs, which don't give those 2 gold. Have I mentioned Shaq at all this year? My annoyance. I don't think I mentioned it once. But, anyway. One for you to get done. I mean, how much would you say to someone if they had the fodder or a bit of fodder, how much would you be comfortable spending to get this SBC done? Would you have a kind of coin figure you'd be happy spending on it?
I think around 75K is probably something I would be happy to spend to get this SPC done, because it's a really good card. Yeah. And that'll last you for a long time, give you links. So there's a lot of benefits as well. It's not just a random card from a random league. It'll actually give you links. And icons this year are really special. I find them really useful to put in my squad. They just add chems as they go along. Like, it's almost like you just feel like Father Christmas just giving out lollies for you.
I mean, look, with all due respect to Danish people, I absolutely love you, but I would prefer it if this was a goalkeeper, a Casillas, Spain, just because there's not that many meta Danish players around. So that does kind of negate it a little tiny bit. Again, I would have preferred maybe a Casillas, or, Van der Sar would have been the dream, although it would have been a very expensive SBC to do. So it's probably why I'm not going to get it done. I think it's all going to come down to the big main man, Mbappe, and how much that costs. And we're going to talk in detail about our theories and strategies of how we might dare to try and get that team done. But EA are out to tempt us to spend that fodder before we get to Mbappe Shaq. Icon Roulette was back at the weekend. The max 89 rated squad. I saw an awful lot of L's watching streamers do this. Did you give it a go?
I did. I got I'm not even a fan of this guy. I got Frank Lampard, and it's just one of those things. You want it not to be an L, and I tried to use him, and he's got the power shot plus, I guess, but that's pretty much where the fun ends. He's not good enough. He's not good enough. Well, I'm not good enough to use him. It's better.
You're putting on a brave face.
Oh, it was horrible. As soon as you see the England flag, unless it follows up with the CB, you're screwed. And that's how I felt.
Yeah, well, Rooney or Kelly Smith would have been okay this year.
True, Kelly Smith kind of makes Rooney.
Yeah, Kelly Smith kind of makes the England striker less of an L these days. Look, this is coming in at 150k. It's around until can't actually see when it's around to. I'll double check and look that up, but it's still around for at least a couple more days. I've not done this. I don't want to spend an 86 rated squad right now. I am not investing in anything that is more than an 84 rated squad. I might push the boat out for Lodi just before he expires, but because of Mbappe, I don't want to give this a go. I'm lucky my team is in a good enough place where probably 75% of the icons in this don't offer a massive improvement. But I do have to give credit to EA, because I do think this is I do think overall, if you took Mbappe out of the equation, the fact he was coming, I think I would do this just because the price is pretty decent.
Completely agree. And that's the reason I did it as well, because it didn't seem too expensive. And I thought, you know what, why not? Who knows? I might just end up with a really good card and ended up with Lampard. So yay for me.
Yeah, 5 days remaining. Apologies, everybody. 5 days remaining on this SBC. So again, you'll have the chance to get your rivals rewards. You'll have a chance to see the price of Mbappe and things like that. So, it'll be there if you want to do it. So there's a couple of other little things that I don't think it was worth us talking about. We've had squad foundations out for the for the Saudi Pro League. Go and get them done if you're really desperate and you want some extra fodder. But I don't think any of these cards, Shaq, are going to make their way into most people's teams.
Nah, not at all. I think one of the disappointing things I find this year is these Squad Foundation objective cards. Sure enough, they look okay, but they're not usable in your main team, and you don't have any other reason to use them. So they just go off the wayside. So you don't really know what to do with them. And I've started just putting them into SBCs. I've been chucking 84s, 83s, 85s into SBCs, and off they go.
Yeah. But again, for just playing the game, you do get some packs along the way as well. So it's worth doing. But again, Moussa Dembele is the SBC 85 rated. It's just there. 85 plus upgrade and an 80 plus double upgrade. I don't love that 80 plus double upgrade, Shaq. I think for 9 players, one of them being rare, I can see more L's than W's in there. Again, I think I would go through the league SBCs before I go through this, but it is a good little way to channel your off-league rares into it. And the 85 plus, again, I think that's overpriced. See more 85s than I do walkouts, but if you have a couple of dupes and you have an abundance of 83s somehow, it is there. But again, I would stress to people, I'd probably go out and get those players done first, get the guarantee players that might turn into higher rated fodder done first, then spend whatever's left on those 85 upgrades. So they're around for another 3 days as well. Let's talk about the main man. It's going to be the big talking point over Black Friday week, Shaq. We know now for a week he's been coming. Killian Mbappe, he's getting that Player of the Month card. It's going to be out this week. We're not sure exactly when. EA just put it on there on the week to come. It was early in that little week to come graphic, so could come today, tomorrow, as we record this. It might even be out by the time you're listening to this. But the big thing to stress to people, Shaq, is that this is going to be one pricey mother trucker.
Exactly. I think all said and done, people can complain about the price, people can complain about everything. At the end of the day, we just need to realize this is an Mbappe card that probably will stay in your club till Team of the Season, you would think. I mean, the last Player of the Month lasted in my squad until Team of the Season, well into Team of the Season. I really had to replace him with another Mbappe, I think, towards the end. So he's not going to be a card that just falls off the curve as such. I really think this is going to be one of those SBCs that's going to be priced in and around 3.3 ish is where it'll start, but it will rise as fodder rises with it, and I can see this settling around 3.6, 3.7. I can see the completion rate to be significantly higher than we expect at this point in time.
Now, look, there's lots of question marks regarding this and especially the rating they give this card. Now, the general pattern for this is that they give it a +1 on their latest inform. It's what we saw with Son. It's what we saw with Jude Bellingham. However, Killian Mbappe, of course, got into Team of the Week this week, which pushed his Team of the Week card. That's a 92 rated, which on paper should make the Player of the Month 93. That I don't see a realistic way, and EA have shown in the past that they are realistic, aren't they, Shaq? They will not put an SBC out that people have zero hope in hell of completing. So we think that this is going to be a 92, don't we? The same 100%. As the Inform.
100%. I mean, there's no incentive for EA to make this higher rated than the cards that come in packs. So it's better for it to be a 92 rated, because then it can be cheaper, which means a lot more people will do it, which also means a lot more people will be inclined to open packs during Black Friday. It all fits in really, really well. And I credit to EA. If they actually price it well and a lot of people do it, so be it. Sure, he's won the Player of the Month. They've made an affordable SBC. It's kind of like a win-win-win for everyone, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and we've had a question, Adam, from the Discord, who said, who's doing Mbappe? Give us your cost predictions. Is he really worth that huge cost? I think he probably is, and I'm going to try and do him, as the game is most fun when you have a big grind with an end goal and the club is then recovering in the aftermath. Just a little worried that I run out of resource halfway through, but that's never happened yet. So let's talk about Price Shack. The Inform, if we do think he's going to be a 92 rated, the Inform is currently on the market for 4.3 million coins. The Gold 91 is having a little bit of a crash, actually, but he's down at 2.3 million as well. We were talking about this off air. I think EA will be a little bit, and I use the term little bit, generous with this. I think it will be closer to 3 than 4. I even think it might be closer to sort of 3 than 3.5. I think that they will dangle the carrot for people to go out and try and complete this card, to try and generate a bit more buzz around the game, because let's face it, let's be brutally honest here, the public discourse around this game is trash at the moment. If you look at any major content creator, Castro, Nick, Nep, they're all saying the same thing. They're saying this game, and they're all going off and playing Fortnite as soon as they, have done their duty for the day. EA will want to try and create a positive buzz, Shaq, and I think if you put Mbappe out for 4.5 million, 4 million, most people are not going to get anywhere near it. And that's because if you look at the price to do this SBC, so far in this game cycle, Shaq, we've not had an SBC out that has required anything more than an 88 rated squad. And again, that's because there's actually not that many cards still that are rated more than an 88, 89. There's only a handful of them. So to get those squads done will be very, very hard for everybody. It would basically make those high rated cards almost extinct. So we think that they'll stick to 88 rated squads. Now, an 88 rated squad at the moment is about 245, 250k, and that's without too much demand on them. The only real cards that are demanding, there's a couple in icons, Mo Salah as well. But Shaq, just on that very basic math, if he comes in at 3 million, then that's going to need, 250k for an 88 rated squad. That's going to be five or six 88 rated squads just to get through half of that.
Definitely, and then it's going to be very intensive to get all the cards that you need to complete this SBC unless your club is completely stocked, which means there's going to be a huge impact on fodder, which means people will buy things off the market, which eventually means the SBC price will also rise as time goes on. I have a feeling, I do completely understand where you're coming from, but I think 3 million is fairly cheap compared to where I believe it'll start. It would start around 3.3, 3.4. 3.3 is let's just say 3.3, and it'll go up from there. But I think the completion rate will be higher than we expect on this one. I'm starting to think, because people are so tired of trying to aspire for backing Mbappe, and everyone, like you and me, everyone wants that Mbappe in their clubs. And everyone's thinking at this point in time, what the hell? Let me just go for a complete gamble and just get him done. Let me gut my club, get him done. And yeah, I think that's what's going to happen with this one.
Yeah, and Adams is in the live chat and he's kind of asking, is now a good time to go out and get fodder? And I think so, Adam, because again, we've not had a real massive demand on it so far. It has been going up in the last couple of days. I mean, if you look at like Morgan, for example, again, 35k yesterday, now close to 37, 38k. The prices are rising. The hype is growing for this. People are sort of getting ready and focused. Still chance to pick up some stuff on bid, but we're not going to get a massive supply now until Rivals Rewards on Thursday. And I think this card will be out by then. So I think there is still room for higher rated cards to go up even further. But yeah, I mean, look, it's not a bad idea to buy now. Shaq, I don't think they've got a great amount of room to crash. Again, if you pick up an 89 for 35k, I don't see them going back to their October prices of 20k. I just don't see it happening.
Not at all. Not at all. I think the baseline I believe baselines for 89 is 34, 35k. It might go lower, but that's pretty much it. I don't think it's going to go anything under 33k. Given the SBCs, if you just take a step back and look at the SBCs we have available right now, we have a huge number of SBCs that are active, like the Player of the Month Salah, there's the Icon Gambles that keep coming out, and there's Player of the Month Mbappe that's going to come out. So I don't see 89s going below that. So it's worth a gamble, but the only thing I have to say is, I think it's worth a gamble. If you want to start picking them up right now, it's certainly worth a shot.
Yeah. Look, in terms of is this card going to be worth it? Yes. Yes. He's broken. And this will be a card that you can use all year. So is it worth getting your club? Ultimately, you can only put 11 players out on the pitch. So if your club ends up having 20 players left in it, this card would be worth doing. But be realistic, I think, is the other thing. If you're sat there with 50k coins right now and not a lot of fodder in your club, be very realistic, because like Adam kind of said, you don't want to be in that situation where you get halfway through this SBC and run out. And that can also kind of put you in a mental place of, I'm going to have to buy and spend points. So again, be realistic about where you are. It's going to be shiny and and there are ways to grind it. Look, you can bronze pack your way through it, but yeah, this is a big one, folks. This is probably the biggest SBC grind that we have had in a long time for people out there. So yeah, be prepared to be grinding hard, or being realistic here, spending your hard-earned cash on packs to get this card done. And again, we're saying bin the points. I very much stick with that. If this card is 3.5 million, you're not going to see him a lot. You will not see him, will you, Shaq? You'll see him sparingly.
Definitely. But I do think anyone that's listening to this show, anyone that's like a semi-hardcore grinder of the game, not just gameplay, but also during SBCs and upgrade packs and doing the league SBCs along the way, doing marquee matchups and getting all those things done and playing champs and rivals. If you do all these things, if you're listening to this podcast, 90% chance is that you will be doing all these things. And if you set yourself a realistic goal of completing this SBC over the course of the next 4 weeks, it certainly is achievable. But outside those things, if you're not doing all these things, it can be a little bit tricky. So there will be a huge population of players that can't even aspire to this Mbappe. So yeah, I don't think you'll see him as often as you would expect. Oh, sorry, I don't think you'll see him as often as an Mbappe card should be. But I'm glad. I don't want to see an Mbappe every single game.
No, absolutely not. Look, we're already half an hour deep in the show. We've got so much more to get through, including all our talk about Black Friday and potential ways to get those cards for Mbappe. But we're going to get to that after a word from our sponsors. This show is sponsored by CarMoney, the car finance ninjas, fighting to make cars affordable and accessible for everyone, no matter your financial situation. Nikki, the car finance ninja here, compares the top car finance lenders in both the UK and Australia to get you the best possible price so you don't have to, and they can get you approved fast. All you need to do is choose your new car and drive away happy. Get in touch with one of their friendly ninjas and start your car finance journey today. Right, welcome back from our little ad break. Shaq, let's get straight into it. Black Friday, one of the most eagerly anticipated promos of the year. Just explain to people in a very loose way the kind of things that EA throw to us and why people really enjoy this promo.
Well, historically, this is the start of the lightning rounds. This is when we actually get lightning rounds and galore of huge variety of packs. Because historically, right until now, we just had gold player packs and premium gold packs, and that's pretty much it. But this year, obviously, that's turned upside down. And the other day, you and me were having a chat, and we counted 15 different special packs in the store. 15 different special packs. So I find it hard to believe what else can EA throw at us for Black Friday from a pack perspective, from a pack content perspective. But apart from that, there will be a huge variety of SBCs, like flash SBCs all through the night UK. It's SBCs literally. I think there's gazillion flash SBCs that require a whole variety of players, so that keeps the game really ticking along. Some of those flash SBCs have really good rewards. Along with that, one of the things that usually comes out during Black Friday is best of team of the week, which means all the team of the weeks of the past, for example, the Van Dijks, the Sons, the Salahs, and they all will come back into packs. The one tip I have to anyone holding tradable versions of special team of the week cards from the past couple of weeks, get rid of them ASAP. Some of them haven't even dropped a single inch so far. Just get them out of your club because they will really, really get smashed as soon as they come back into packs. And along with that, we also have a brand new promo that's coming in along with Black Friday. So it's going to be a really hectic time on the game. There will be a lot of packs open. There will be a lot of SBCs for us to throw our fodder into. And there will be a lot of flash SBCs as well for us to throw and generate packs. So it's quite an active time to be part of this game at this point in time, to be honest.
Yeah, it's absolutely frantic. You mentioned all those flash SBCs, challenges out there. You know, they are throwing everything. And the bizarre thing I've always thought with Black Friday, Shaq, is that Black Friday is traditionally a time where, you know, retailers discount stuff. EA just don't. EA are just like, our version of Black Friday is we'll make you spend more on the same. But look, we might see things like bonus packs. We've seen them already. There'll be things like Ultimate Pack that comes with a free rare mega pack. We have seen in the past them do 2-for-1s, but I don't see that happening. I think they've kind of got us by the ankles at this point. And, you know, they might change things again to try and generate some goodwill, but I'm not expecting it. So yeah, loads and loads and loads to get on with. Of course, we've seen the loading screen with the best of team of the week. I think they had outlines of, I think it was Son,
Van Dijk,
and Valverde, I think was the other one I think people were speculating.
Correct. Yep.
So yeah, you're right to get out of it. And I think just as well, it's kind of related to Black Friday, but it's going forward as well. Of course, Foot Champs rewards have changed. Now they, instead of giving an 85 plus or an 86 plus pack, now they are giving out this campaign pack, which contains Trailblazers, Centurions, and Road to the Knockout cards. So whilst those cards aren't coming back into packs, they are suddenly going to be more available and be in supply from this weekend going forward. So if you've got those cards as well, they're going to have a double dip because A, people will be spending and generating coins and wanting to buy better players. And B, of course, they're going back into supply. So not market supply, but people will be picking them up and then selling their tradable version. So again, I think, Shaq, if you've got any kind of meta card from those promos, get out now.
Completely agree. This is a really good time to get out of any tradable cards, to be honest. And you can always purchase them back probably on the Sunday or the Monday after Champs. You can try and buy them back and they will be at the lowest, and they'll also start to slowly appreciate in value, especially if they're rare and special. You can certainly buy them back and just hold on to them from then all the way even past team of the year. This is the time where things just get stupidly low. So if you have coins available, it's a really good opportunity just to keep your coins, consolidate your coins, and just go on a spending spree as soon as Sunday or Monday hit.
Yeah, Mario said, market crash incoming due to Black Friday, question mark. Do we expect the meta cards to drop? And is it worth buying anything for investment? Now, I looked a little bit in the week at some of the meta cards in last year. And if you had cards like out of position Salah, I think he was a 92 rated striker, Di Natale's base hero card, they kind of plunge by about 20% as Black Friday goes on. And then what happens, like you said, Shaq, there's the little up curve. And it looks like the absolute bottom was that Sunday to Monday as Black Friday promo, Cyber Monday, if they call it that, ends. That's when then people go, okay, weekend league's over as well, of course. I'm going to start building a team now. I'm going to have a bit of confidence in the market and I'll start buying. So if you do want to invest, I would pick up, as Shaq said, those rare meta cards, good hero cards, great cards from other promos that will still be hard to pack in that, weekly rewards. Maybe look to pick those up on the Sunday or the Monday, but just kind of wait, be really careful, and also do accept that we don't know what is coming next from EA, so it could always go down.
That's exactly a point. For example, I was just thinking of a perfect example of a card that you could try to look at is Virgil van Dijk, the Team of the Week card, because he's going to be heavily supplied and he's such a meta card. The gold card is so overpowered that the Team of the Week card will be desirable. And it makes complete sense, but we don't necessarily know if an evolution or another SPC in a centre back position comes out in a week or 10 days or so. So it's really hard to know. But just use your logic and just try and see what card you would like to put into your squad, and just go with that. If something comes out of your control, that's all. You can't control it. So
yeah. As I said, I would target that Sunday night, very early into Monday window. If there is a card you've got your eye on, that's when traditionally things hit their lowest point. In terms of other preparation as well, go pick up some gold commons if you can. I know they're probably going to be a bit inflated already because of the 80 plus upgrade SBC, but especially top leagues and nations as well. Just do a little stock if you can, or don't be chucking them into the 80 plus right now, because again, we have lots of puzzle SBCs, flash challenges and things like that. We had good things as well last year, but I think one of them was for wasn't like an 84 plus tradable player pick at some point.
Yeah, that's right.
League specific upgrades and all sorts of fun and games. So the more cards you've got in your club, the better. Ingvi submitted a question saying, do we think EA are going to switch things up and give us things cheaper, like half price Mbappe at SBC and half price packs on the store? I don't, as I said, I don't expect it, but I do think EA, if they are smart, they will be listening to the discourse around this game and trying to make people happy. I noticed Nick, Run the Foot Market, posted the fact that on Amazon, this game is already discounted down to $30 and it's November. So the game's only been out a month and they've already shaved 50% plus off the game. So signs already, and again, we talked about this in trading shows and things with the amount of live transfers on the market, signs that this game is not doing as well or not being enjoyed, certainly. I'm not saying it's doing badly, but it's not doing as well as it could do. So they could change things up. We just don't know. So look, overall, have fun. Again, we've said hashtag bin the points. Please don't be tempted to chase. Look, everybody's free to do with their money what they want. And look, there might be some really great packs and some interesting things, but don't buy packs in the expectation that you're going to get a good player. Don't even buy packs in the expectation that you're going to get the fodder towards Mbappe. Only do it if you've literally just got a little bit of money and you want a little bit of excitement, then do it, because otherwise it's just not worth it, Shaq.
100%. Just bin the points. You don't necessarily need to open packs. And again, with that whole fear of missing out aspect, the FOMO aspect as well, don't try and complete these flash SBCs if you have to buy a card for max price, or if you have to buy a random bronze for 9K or 10K.
Whoa. Let's not tell the team to stop doing that. I need to make bank this weekend, Shaq. Come on.
Completely agreed.
Please buy that bronze rare from League 2. Please go out and spend that 7-8K on it. You'll be making me happy.
I think our esteemed listeners will not be in your little predatory group, Wimby. There'll be other people available for us. Having said that, though, One of the things that really shocked me was when we had that SBC that needed Copenhagen cards, I saw people buying a team of the week for 30k to submit it to an SBC that gives you a much worse pack. So please don't fall in that trap. If you're listening to this, don't fall into that trap. But I'm sure there's a whole lot of other people that don't listen that will buy cards from Wimby. That's fine. Let them make him cash rich.
Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. That's, again, bronze pack method. It's one of the best weeks of the year if you're a BPMer, because, yeah, there are these flash SBCs. And it's also all based around SBC solutions that people put on Footbin, without going too far into the secrets.
For those of you that are actually joining us and listening to the audio version of this, Wimby's actually smiling like a Cheshire cat right now. He's literally got the grin on his face.
Look, I put in the hard yards opening those bronze packs, I'll tell you. Look, we've got so much to go into, but I'm very conscious of the fact that we are already 40 minutes into the show. Time is flying by because we've had so much to talk about. But look, enjoy Black Friday. The guys will be back over the weekend as well, and they'll be sort of talking through some of the content so far. So we'll get into that and the new promo team that's coming up. What's it called? Thunder? Is it Thunderstruck?
Thunderstruck. That's exactly right. Yeah.
ACDC's all I was going to say. Yeah. I expect that for when I open a pack during Thunderstruck for that to be the background music.
How cool would that be? Wow. Not like we're going to pack any of these players, but yeah, there we go.
Well, they had a kit out this week for the Rolling Stones, so maybe get an AC/DC kit out. So that is Black Friday. Lots more to get into. And again, of course, if you're in the Discord, you want any advice, please hit us up. You know where to go. Patreon.com/FootInReview. If you want to spend any money over Black Friday, I know we are very biased, but for £1 a week, for the amount of content and the extras and things you get, of course, you've got the Crete meetup, friendly tournaments going on, so much going on, all for, again, from the low price of £1 a week. The cost of like one of those 25k packs or whatever it is. I highly recommend you put your money there and bin those points. We've got so much more to get to, Shaq. Let's go. Very, very quickly. Player in review. This week, Shaq, I've picked Dirk Kout's hero card, his hero Centurions card, should I say. I picked this card up for about 50k, and I think he's probably even cheaper than that now, on the basis that I loved his World Cup hero card from last year. Now, I've got to say, this card is not as good. It's not done what I want it to do. And I think it's the 3-3, because I think the World Cup card last year was a 4-4. But yeah, he's still 58k. I played him to use as the attacking player in my 4-3-2-1. So if you play that formation, you'll know one of the midfielders in the middle three. It's basically kind of a second striker, kind of winger as well. And I picked Kout out to do that. He's not quite doing the job I wanted him to do. Solid, not let you down. The aerial plus play style is handy if he pops up at a set piece. His shooting is decent. Passing is decent. He's a very solid all-round card, but I bought him to replace Kevin De Bruyne, and he's just not quite doing it for me, Shaq. But again, for the fact that he's only 50k, gives you those hero links, is not a bad option at all. I still got my 11 wins. I got promotion to Div 2 in Rivals with him, so he's certainly not letting the team down, but he's not offering the boost that 4-star, 3-star version we had this time last year did.
Yeah, he's got some really good stats, and we spoke about this earlier. I think it was offline, and I was in the same predicament as you. I really wanted to replace my Kevin De Bruyne, and I just wanted to go to Kout because I packed his hero card as well. But the trouble is, there's something special about those passes that you get from Kevin De Bruyne because of his playstyle plus. Yeah. Whereas this guy, his playstyle plus being something that you can't really use in the middle of the pitch, it's not the ideal card. Yeah, it's a tricky one. Yeah,
he's got 2 fewer pace. The passing's a couple of points lower as well. The dribbling's a couple of points lower. So it's just not. I was hoping for the reincarnation of that World Cup card, and it's just not there. But you want to talk about Batcher before she disappears? Yeah. In fact, she might have even expired by the time people hear this.
Unfortunately, I'm really sorry for the guys that haven't really completed Batcher yet. She is
6 hours remaining as we record this live. So unfortunately, by the time most people listen, she'll have expired.
If you're listening to this and Batcher is still alive, active, I would suggest just go ahead and try and get the SBC done, because her whip crossing is really good fun. Her actual dribbling and agility and balance is really good fun. Her defensive stats are pretty good. She's I think she's a really well-rounded card, and she can play in multiple positions. One of the things I've really enjoyed is playing her as a left winger or in the left midfield, so then she can just freely just whip up her crosses. But the one weakness that I found, which is why I had to remove her from the starting left back slot, is that she isn't strong enough or big enough to stop those attacking players on the wings. She can get the ball back on maybe 8 out of 10 occasions, but those 2 occasions they just bulldoze her, and that's the only drawback with the card. If you can somehow overcome that, I know some of the guys in the Discord have mentioned that they've overcome that particular aspect. She's a lovely card to do, and look, she's going to become an 89 at least, and maybe even a 90 rated card in the next month or so. So definitely worth a shout.
Yeah, I've been using her. I think she's a fantastic card. I do notice exactly the thing you're talking about with the strength and getting bullied a little bit. It was the same with Carmona as well, when I had Carmona in there. It's just it's something to do with the body type for the female players. It's not the face stats. I don't know what it is. It's curious because I have Henrique in there, 84 rated from the dynamic duos. And even though I think his physicality is basically the same, he just seems to be able to deal with it and have more strength on it. I don't know what it is. It might even just be mental in my mind. But overall, I think the plus... Sorry, go on.
I think it's the weight. I think you're quite right. The stats are quite similar, but it's the weight of the card.
Yeah, it could be.
Again, we don't really know how it actually interacts with the other stats and what happens with them. But I just find that exactly as you said, because I use some small left backs and thinking Bacha would be exactly the same, but she just gets bullied so much easier than another her male counterparts, shall I say.
Yeah, look, we're going to skip formation in review today because neither of us have particularly tried out anything new. I'm still on the 4-3-2-1 train. Shaq, what did you use this weekend?
I've just now started using the new Div 10 Moments 4-2-1-3. Only 2 games in, so I can't really give you a comprehensive review. But the only thing I can say is in 2 games in, I don't know if it's my opponents or if it's me playing differently I could play through the middle. Shock horror. I did play through the middle because, as I've been telling you, Wimpy, for the past week or so, I've just come back and really have been forcing myself to play through the middle because I'm tired of doing the same thing on the wing. This time, played 2 games through the middle. It was effective. I don't know what. Yeah, so that was the one thing that I really enjoyed.
Well, we will give a full review. That'll probably be next week's formation review for a full-on review of that. But again, Div 10 Moment, he's been putting out some cracking formations. Please give him a follow on Twitter. Now, look, let's get into the mailbag before we wrap up. We're not going to be able to go too deep into each of these, but we're going to do our very best. And I want to start as well with Samuel Porret 04, who submitted a question to us on Twitter again. Send your questions in. Oh, as my light disappears, I was thinking my monitor was going to collapse. There you go. That's a fun one for those of you watching the video show. Getting too animated, clearly. Send your questions in to us. Foot Coaching is all our social across Instagram, TikTok. You will have seen our lovely faces on TikTok a lot in the past couple of weeks. So give us a follow there. And also, please get your questions in. Now, look, we're in the process of getting a very easy to remember email inbox as well. We're kind of talking as a little management team about what the best handle is because we want it to be very easy for people to remember when they're listening to this show and send us questions. But Samuel Porret sent one in. He said, what are your thoughts on Evos? His thoughts on Evos, sorry. All Evos should be free, but the paid for option should be able to skip the requirements, i.e. skipping playing 40 squad battles for 150k. What's your thoughts on it? Shaq, do you think it should be a pay to evolve?
Solid idea. Absolutely solid idea because keep all the Evos completely free. So if you really want to evolve your player and play 40 games, you're completely welcome to do so. Alternatively, you just pay 150k or even the FIFA point way. I'm not saying we're trying to say bin the FIFA points, but if it can save someone a lot of time to get a specific player that they're looking for, sure, it saves you a lot of hassle, saves you a lot of time. Perfect. I think it's a really good idea.
I'm slightly nervous about it because, again, I think it does leave people vulnerable to having to go and buy those points, to spend those coins. But I do also think that if you are spending your hard-earned coins or points on it, then yeah, maybe you deserve a slightly easier ride. I think my general problem with Evos, and I was talking about this in the Discord the other day, Shaq, is just the higgledy-piggledy random nature of some of these requirements. Like these relentless, and we've not really talked about the evolutions that came out this week, because again, we've just got so much to get into. But the 2 that came out this week, A, they're not really knocking on a lot of previous evolutions, but B, they've also put the requirements back in to win games in Rivals or Foot Champs. And I cannot stand that. As someone that's trying to evolve a 67 rated Gareth McCleary. I don't want to put him in my starting lineup because it compromises my chemistry and generally jeopardizes my chance of winning games. And also, when I'm trying to bring him on, again, I kind of have to wait to a point where I'm happy subbing him in and out very quickly. And a lot of the times, if I'm 2-0, 3-0 up and I've paused, I get quit on. So
Exactly.
Why release one set of Evos that's Evo Lounge? Then you release a one that's, okay, well, you can do this all offline if you want to. And then another one where, okay, well, no, you have to go win games. Just make it consistent. Everything should have the ability to be done offline, I think, especially the paid for ones. Anyway, that's my mini rant.
100% agree with you. 100% agree. I think doing these evolutions in Rivals or online games are not easy at all, because I've been trying to upgrade my Dallo, and literally I have to keep a clean sheet for him to evolve, and that's not easy in online gameplay. So if these objectives, it's starting to get a little tricky as well. And I think one of the other huge issues I have with the evolution concept is also with the fact that these cards, when they're popular and you really want to get one of those popular cards, I know you don't have to worry about this, but I really wanted to get a popular Alessandrini card, and it was impossible for me to get that card because he was completely out of the market forever, and it's just unfair. It's just there needs to be a better system. They need to have a better system for this.
Yeah, it does need refining. But thank you very much for the question, Samuel. Again, Foot Coaching on Twitter for the time being, on X, sorry. And of course, we hopefully by the time of the next show, we'll have a concrete email inbox address. Again, we have lots of emails you can send them to, but I've been saying to John, we really need hopefully we'll get questions at footinreview.com or something like that. But we're working on it, folks. Don't worry. Meanwhile, lots of questions in from the Discord as well. Talking Foot, John, he says, with champs still being behind the skill wall of qualifiers, what is the benefit of EA to exclude a large proportion of the user base from this? Giving them the points against the qualifiers isn't the same as giving entry. This was the way before, but it was changed a couple of FIFAs ago where rivals points got you entry. We went back to qualifiers last year, and it feels a backward step to inclusion. So, Shaq, what do you feel about this? Do you think it should go back to that old system of you get enough points in rivals, you can play weekend league? Or do you see the benefit of having a playoff system?
Why? I mean, playoffs are fun, yes. I don't want playoffs to disappear because it is fun. But if you play X amount of games, if you can, that should grant you access into champs. I'm not saying it should be 10 games or 20 games. Keep it at a higher number so that people can, build those rival wins over maybe 3-4 weekends and then get into champs eventually. I have nothing. I think everyone deserves access to champs. They shouldn't be held back.
Yeah. Even if you did, you kept the playoff system intact, but you just said you had a continuous counter in the, win 5 games in playoffs. Doesn't matter over how many attempts. If it takes you 3 attempts, fine. But then you're in weekend league and you get a token to enter. So I think that would be a better way than sort of having the current system of making people get to 4 wins, because with this, the user base shrinking, people finding this game harder, it is a lot harder for people to get into foot champs, and that's just making foot champs more annoying. And again, I say this from a selfish point of view as a player that's pretty decent. I'm an 11 win merchant, but look, I want players that maybe not quite as good, because I don't want to have to sweat every game. I know that sounds really arrogant, but I'm being completely honest about it. You want that difficulty, you want that breather to be able to try and evolve your Gareth McCleary, God forbid.
Let's face it, I think most of us give up at least about 2 to 3 games a weekend.
Yeah.
If those 2-3 wins go towards people that don't necessarily qualify every single time, who cares? Everyone's happy.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is our thoughts on that. Again, more people should be able to play this mode as human, especially if you're taking out the whole idea of this is how pros prove themselves. Then why are you restricting it? Why is it? It's not the pinnacle game mode anymore. It's the most casual, as Inception constantly says. And finally, sorry.
Last thing, I just found this really funny when we had Michael on the show on the weekend. He said that pros, if they don't get 20-0, it's considered a failure, and that made me tear up a little bit of my spirit broke. But that's exactly right. It's not considered a big thing in the pro line. So why are we just putting a wall against people and getting into foot champs? It just doesn't make sense.
Our pro dreams probably over at this point, Shaq, as I labour to 11 wins every weekend. Grandpapa Mac, should there be a D-pad option for the attacking team when your opponent has pressed the cry havoc and let's slip the dogs of war constant pressure red button? His team acts like they're in the opening scene of Private Ryan, while my guys stroll around like a bunch of Smurfs. Should there be an attacking option that matches his team aggression and turns my team into a bunch of blood-soaked England shirt-wearing Terry Butchers? Sorry for the late 80s football reference. You do think that there should be a way, a counter press option that you should be able to press on the D-pad, maybe one that keeps your team, pushes your strikers further forward, or kind of teases that off such a... I don't know how they would do it.
Isn't there a tactic that pushes your centre-backs in front?
I'm not sure. My only D-pad option I ever use is team press and attacking fullbacks. The only two D-pad options. Oh, and sometimes striker drop back if I'm trying to defend. Okay. So again, this might be one more, I think, for John to talk about on Saturday's show. But I think if there's ever a good place to end this show and it's talking about our gameplay frustrations, I'm sick of it. You're sick of it. We are all sick of this depth, aren't we? We're sick of it. We're sick of the pressure.
Completely sick to death. And I think some of the examples that you spoke about with Nick's video this morning that dropped this morning, and he tried to show us examples of how everyone plays through the wings, and you can play through the wings and exploit. And the reason he showed us some really good graphics where at some point in time, he's talking about his own squad. He doesn't have significant low depth or anything like that. He had four of his whole defense was in his box. 3 of his midfielders were just outside the box. So you've got 7 people just there in and around the box. So there is literally no space for you to attack through the middle. So what do? You go through the wings. And with the depth, it's painful. It's the same game over and over again, the same attacking patterns. And it's deplorable. I think it's getting to a lot of people.
Last year and the years before, you could play a high press game. And again, like real football, like Liverpool and other teams like that, it's a legitimate football tactic. I've got nothing against it. But as Grandpa Max says, there needs to be a counter to it and there needs to be a drawback. I am sick of it because you can tell so easy now who's doing it just by, I just look at the stamina bars. I just look at the stamina bars and I can see by halftime, I know, not that it's not hard to see during the gameplay, but there just needs to be a counter. I don't know if it is a stamina drain. It's, as exception other people are saying, and Grandpa Mac has said, it's about as much as them putting pressure on you. It's about the effect it has on your players. It shouldn't be affecting your players that way. If someone is pushing me constantly for 90 minutes and playing a really high line, I am expecting my wingers and my strikers to be constantly trying to break that line, to be making those runs and catching people out, because that is what happens in real football. That is how teams like Leicester win the league, because they have that ability to unspring the trap. And I know we all hate through ball merchants, as you know, we're probably all ratting do it ourselves, but I would rather have that meta where you can at least go through the middle and build up than this constant just seeing my CDMs being man marked and not having a pass open in the middle. I'm sick of it. Sick of it.
Definitely. I think the part that really gets me as well is as teams have progressed, the better players, the players that have better players in their squad, better cards in their squad, they're impossible to break down in this 71 depth. They're really hard to break down because those cards just dominate you completely. So it's really hard to get around them. So for example, if you're facing a Hullet, there's no way you can maneuver against that guy. You have to pass it far, far away from him. And if you have a Hullet and a Van Dijk behind him, you just might as well just game over. You just go through the wing and hope for the best. That's it.
I've had Samuel Eto'o's icon card for a few weeks now. Very lucky to pack it. But he's getting less effective now because everybody has Van Dijk and everyone now has Ledley King or Thiago Silva or Laurent Blanc. So even he's finding it harder to get that advantage that he might have had even just a few weeks ago. There's
a specific type of player that works these days, and that's a sad reality, unfortunately. There's a specific type of player that you need to do, a specific type of play, specific type of player, a specific type of play style. It's just, we've got so many cards in the game. We've got so many formations, yeah.
I messaged you the other day and I said to you, I think the saddest thing for me is I love crossing, and I know Ingvi was talking about this on Saturday's show. I love crossing and I score a good number of goals through crosses. I don't spam it constantly, but I'm trained up enough to know that when there is a cross on, people don't do it to me. And whilst that's good because I don't have to worry about it, I find it really sad that so many people are playing a football game and so few are doing anything other than the meta way to score goals. And we are not bashing anybody because most of my goals are cutbacks. I'm not going to sit here and try and be holier than thou. But
the problem...
Sorry.
Yeah, go on, sorry.
No,
go
carry
on. Exactly what you said. The problem is, someone like me, I would love to learn how to cross and play more crossing. But every game is such a struggle that I can't really experiment. I really have to go down to what I know best for me to get either a win or finish my objective or complete the 7 wins in Rivals or get to 11 wins in Champs or qualify or win the cup. So I have to do the things that I have to do to get those wins to move on. And I don't have the time, the breathing space to play against a weaker opponent or such to try and experiment. So everyone gets into that, that routine of doing what they do best.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I do want to end on one positive, and I will give EA massive credit for this objective this week. And John, Talking Foot, kind of mentioned this. That whole bonus points to get champions qualification points is brilliant. And you know the reason it's brilliant, Shaq? Is because all you need to do is score a goal. And it then immediately makes even games where you're getting beaten in Rivals feel a little bit worth it. Because before that, if all these objectives are just based around wins, then it's no point. You're 2-0, 3-0 down against a good player. Well, why am I even there? But with this objective, I'm like, well, I might as well stick around. I just need to score a goal. And then I do try different things because the pressure's off. I'm like, well, I've already lost a game. Doesn't matter. I'm just trying to score a goal. Let me try this. I'll bring that player that I don't bring on very much. Or, let me try and tweak my formation a bit and see if it works. Please, EA, please give more objectives that give credit to something that is not just a victory. Please make it goal-based. Please make it... Have bonus packs in there for score 5 goals. Like, we used to have it, didn't we, Shaq? There used to be objectives of score 5 goals from cross goal, score 5 volleys this week for a prime goal pack or something like that in Rivals. That way, it'll at least give you reasons to be playing Rivals beyond just trying to get a win. But look, we could go on for literally hours. We've got so much we've not even touched on. Thank you to everyone that submitted questions in. Lots and lots. I've said this phrase so much. We had so much to talk about, Shaq, but we are over the hour mark. John's got enough on his plate as it is. We don't want to leave him in the editing room for too long.
Exactly. Thank you. We have so much always to talk about.
Absolutely. And look, if the best place to talk about things like this, again, I've mentioned it 2 or 3 times, last plug of the show, patreon.com/foot review. That gets you into our Discord, whatever tier you sign up for. Higher tiers get you more benefits and other great bits and pieces. Get access to the loyalty program, access to our trading show, access to exclusive tactics early. But look, we talk about all this kind of stuff every day in the Discord, so please head over there. You can find me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it these days, at Wimby or at Wimby86, my 86 tag, a bit more FIFA orientated. Shaq, where are you?
Shaq Attack 6285 on Twitter and Shaq Attack on the Discord.
The show will return over the weekend. Lots and lots to get into as Black Friday will be under full swing as the guys reconvene then. But again, please check out the weekend show as well with Michael, talking about the pro scene and the changes there. Really interesting stuff if you do have any passing interest in the way that scene is changing and evolving. Lots, of course, going on in the Discord, lots going on elsewhere. Above all, remember, guys, hashtag bin the points. One last thing for us to do, Shaq.
Drop it.
We are going to drop it.
Drop it.
F-U.
T.
F-U.
T.
F-F-F-U.
T.
F-U. T.
T.
T. In the view. F-U.
T.